Do you, in this fixed ops mastermind, do you coach fixed ops management and leaders on how to deal with the other departments, like the retail department?
So part of what we're doing there is simple communication, right? Which is going to help you, no matter who you're communicating with. If that's a general manager, a used car manager, or someone outside.
All right, welcome back to the Everyone Hates Car Salesman podcast, where we break down the strategies and mindsets and real world tactics that you need to be an automotive expert, whether it's in automotive retail sales, if you are into social media in the automotive space, if you are into fixed ops, we cover it all. My job is to try to bring you amazing guests and people that can share their knowledge and experience and bring you people that are not only going to take you to the next level in your career, but maybe just help you learn something every so often. It's not a bad thing to learn, in my opinion. So, before we do that, I'd like to thank Credit Saint, our sponsor. 14,000 five-star Google reviews. Credit Saint can get you on the road to financial freedom, and put you in a position to have a better overall financial life, I guess is what you'd say. So thank you, Credit Saint. So I want to take a quick second and introduce somebody that I have just come across, guys, and I like this guy. I'm going to put it out there. I am absolutely not honed in so much on automotive retail that I'm not open to learning about other ends of it, like fixed ops. And I've been a general manager and a car dealer and all that stuff. But to be honest with you, I know how to hire a good fixed ops guy. That's what I know about fixed ops. So my guest today is what I absolutely would consider an expert in the fixed ops field. His name is Dave Foy. Dave, how are you?
Couldn't be better. Happy to be here, Sean.
You look amazing. You look at what a background. I love the background. I was telling him how jealous I am about the background. My background's going to look like that in like a week. You know what I'm saying? So Dave, I mean, I know that you are into just a bundle of things, and I love every single one of them. The biggest thing, being the fixed ops mastermind, um, plethora of tools that you have available for fixed ops people in the automotive space. Can you just start talking about that a little bit and give me some background?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of how I wound up here. Started in the business in 1987, and started as a technician for Ford. And turns out I'm not a great technician. So after 4 years or so, they asked me to stop working on their cars, and I moved to the service desk, and became a service advisor, and found what I love to do there. And spent the next 10 years as an advisor. And before I got my first management gig, and spent the next 25, 30 years or so in the industry, working my way up through the dealership ranks. Left the dealership day-to-day operations about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. Went to the vendor side, the partner side, if you will, and joined a startup tech company that was delivering training into dealerships. And worked there, built the fixed operations program there. Uh, then went and trained around the country, on my own with some things, and joined with OEM Interactive in October of 2023, where we had started to build out a fixed ops media brand. And most recently have jumped back into the fixed ops mastermind, which I started in 2019, and am going full bore on that now.
So, if you could you expand a little bit on the fixed ops mastermind and exactly what, for our listeners, what does that do for what does that do for somebody?
Yeah. So it has certainly evolved from where it started. Right. It started as a paid community membership, and we met once a week. It was on Tuesday evenings. We met every single week, and there was a group of fixed ops people as well as vendors that were there every single week. We had guest speakers come in, and we had topics that were settled on before the week that we went through, and talked about, and just worked on problems for each other. Right. Everybody there was either operating in a dealership or operating for a dealership. That continued for that way for 4+ years. Last year, we turned it over to the weekly show that we've been doing, bringing that same knowledge and help to the industry, but by doing it with interviews with guests and things. We are bringing that back, the original group setup.
Okay.
That will be coming back. There'll be an announcement coming out about that very soon. The group is going to be there for its original purpose, which was to help people in fixed ops, learn a little bit more, understand a little more of the industry. If you're having a problem, there's people there that can help you solve it, as well as bringing to the group vendor solutions that are there to help your dealership, help your teams, that are actually proven, and used by people that you can talk to.
I mean, so it feels like a community of like-minded people that are all in the fixed op space, directly, indirectly, on the vendor side, on the employee side,
Mhm.
on ownership side, whatever. But it sounds to me like a knowledge base where somebody can go and correct me if I'm wrong, but really enhance their chance of success in their career by networking with all these people and obviously is there so I would want to ask you, is there what kind of are there in that group, is there somewhere for technicians, or is it just me? I mean, give me just an idea if a guy's a technician to listen to this, because believe it or not, some technicians actually find me interesting. I'm not sure why. I pay them really well to fix things because I don't know how to do it. But so if you're like a technician, is Fixed Op Mastermind something?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's interesting you asked that question because when I originally started building this, before I launched the first the first meeting, the original concept was to give a place for service advisors and technicians to come and to learn what they needed to be able to grow in the dealership. Right,
Yeah.
a service advisor gets promoted up to service manager and has no idea how to run a dealership. They just happen to be the best service advisor. Right, so I originally built this for them to be able
Okay.
to find those things out. What turns out, mostly who showed up was leadership in the dealership, and
Yeah.
so we make that work in reverse, right? So now we can help leadership understand what they need to do to mentor and bring up their technicians and advisors to positions where they will be able to move up in the dealership.
Ah,
Um,
that's amazing.
we have had technicians, we have had plenty of service advisors that come and join the group, and everybody that gets in that group is really open, willing to share and willing to help, willing to mentor people
Yeah.
along, to help them succeed. Right? No, nobody is joining that group who doesn't want this industry to be better.
Yeah, that's awesome. So want to get a little bit into talk about you a little bit. And like I said at the beginning of the show, and I meant that, I felt a certain synergy with you the first time that we talked, which is rare with a retail guy and a fixed ops guy. Normally, we're like hovering over our rows together, trying to figure out how we can chop each other up. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So I think it's an interesting dynamic to meet a real fixed ops guy outside of a dealership.
sure.
You know what I'm saying? Where we can just be ourselves and just enjoy the automotive space together. But you get
We,
us
we
in a
can
deal,
we can still talk about what that used car needs after the show
right?
if you're
Right,
in.
100%, 100%, 100%. But here's the problem: I'm the guy. I'm the used car guy that says, you know what? Do me a favor, bring it around. Let me drive. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and and I'm happy to say, absolutely, I just gotta pay the technician another half hour to put it back together so you can drive it. That's fine.
And then I go, it's just fine. It's fine. Just I think it's fine. Yeah, I mean, we all. I mean, that's how it works, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and I bring that up to highlight that because sometimes the disparity in communication between two departments that are so important and vital to a facility, the fixed ops department and the retail. I mean, those are the two. I mean, those are the income generators, right? Obviously, fixed ops, if you're good, your absorption is 80, 90, maybe it's 100%, and you pay all the bills, and selling a car is gravy. Most fixed ops department aren't quite that healthy. Well, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
but the dynamic between the departments, could you share a little bit? Do you, in this fixed ops mastermind, do you coach fixed ops management and leaders on how to deal with the other departments, like the retail department?
So part of what we're doing there is simple communication, right? Which is going to help you, no matter who you're communicating with. If that's a general manager, a used car manager, or someone outside
Yeah.
of the dealership altogether, right? In your life, understanding how to communicate with people is going to help you. And we need to be able to understand the people that we're speaking with. We need to understand how they communicate, right? How they need to receive information, right? Because the communication only takes place if you've understood what I've said, right? I can talk all day. If you're not understanding, I'm not communicating with you. I'm
Yeah.
just talking,
Yeah.
right? So, um,
Yeah.
yes, the show went on for 4+ years in those groups. We talked about a lot of subjects and covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
We had guests that ranged from other fixed ops directors
Yeah.
to a mental performance coach for the New York Yankees. Or
Right on.
we had
All right.
yeah,
Yeah.
we had a lot of different people that were
That's
there
great.
pouring their knowledge into this group.
Yeah, so it's really a very well-rounded solution then. I mean, you're talking about communication training, you're talking about obviously, the technical side of what you guys do and whatnot. So I want to go back to you a little bit because, although I knew who you were, I think if I'm not mistaken, you guys can look them up. I think 20,000 followers on LinkedIn. Is that right?
Pretty close. 19.7, I think.
20. 20.
Round up.
And we always round up. No, so, that's amazing. I mean, that's a real following on that platform, right? I mean, that's great.
Yeah, it's I mean, for someone like you on TikTok, it's nothing, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Right, right,
on
right.
LinkedIn, it's a big audience. So
Yeah, that's amazing, and I think that goes, I mean, to get that many followers on any platform, I mean, but definitely LinkedIn it's unique in its own space. You really have to be a respected expert or, respected professional in that space in order to gain that kind of following. So, I mean, kudos to you. If anybody's out there, I mean, look him up on LinkedIn, Dave Foy, Foy, and you will get just a plethora of information just from banging around on your LinkedIn because I did it and I got a little bit lost in there, a little bit of a rabbit hole. So what would you say is give me an idea of what's a common misconception that you would say people have about people in your field in general, in the fixed ops field and
yeah, I mean, I think the easy one to go to is that we just want to sell everybody everything.
yeah,
Right? The every car that comes in, you wanna take it for every dollar that it's worth.
yeah,
And that is never how I grew teams. You can smash somebody over the head once for a $1,500, $2,000 bill, and they're never coming back, right? Or you can
sure,
do the right thing, sell them the stuff that they actually need today, let them know about stuff that's coming up or that will be done in the future, or if it's cosmetic stuff, that
yeah,
that never has to be done, but you let them know about it,
yeah,
right? And now that customer returns to you over and over and over again.
yeah,
And instead of getting a one-time $1,500 RO, you end up making 8,000, 9,000, $10,000 on that customer. And they get to at some point walk out front and see you to buy a car, right? And
right,
now we get that value. And
right,
then we get to rotate that through. Now, if you took their car in trade, now we get to do work on it as a used vehicle, right? And
right,
then they sell it and we get to work on it for that customer. We get to
yeah.
work on whatever car you sold them, right? And that flywheel effect starts to take place. So
It
your
really,
original question, what the misconception is that
yeah,
we want to smash everybody over the head,
right,
and it's
right.
not the way it is.
And I think the disappointing thing, and I feel this way about my end of it in the retail side, is that there's still a very high percentage of guys that are operating like that. I've been at stores, you know, in recent years where, even as the GM of the store or the owner of the store, part owner, the guy would come up to me and, try to rip my face off. You know what I mean? And, I never understood that. Like, now I'm going to check you every time, first of all,
Mhm.
which you may be smarter than me. Maybe you can still show me how I should get on this RO. But the fact that I'm checking you is unproductive. Now you're talking about, the return on investment of a person. Now I wrangled Dave in now for 10 minutes to go over every single RO because I don't trust you
Right.
because you did it to me once and you got away with it. Now I'm gonna get it back. It's just a matter of time. I'm either gonna take it from your pocket or your time. And that's unfortunate as a dealer. I mean, especially the owner of a facility, how unfortunate that these two departments can't operate more like
Yeah.
you're suggesting, which is, guys, let's all eat. It's cool. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I know he set you a bonus, an average RO of this amount this month, and I know you want to hit it. If you treat me right, guess what? I'll help you get there. Like, because we're good. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
if you don't, guess what? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not going to be pulling in your corner. So, what trends or changes? I mean, this is an interesting thing to me because again, I'm not a fixed ops expert. What trends or changes are you noticing right now in the industry that you want to highlight? I mean, what's interesting that's happening and changing?
Yeah, I mean, that's a loaded question because there's a lot that's changing in this industry, and I just had a conversation with somebody else earlier today that in 5 years, I believe in 5 years that fixed ops or maybe the dealership in general is unrecognizable to what it
Oh
is
yeah,
today.
I agree.
Um, you know, let's tackle the obvious one: AI. AI is coming. AI
Here,
is here,
here,
right? And
yeah,
it's more than just a voice that's going to answer your phone,
yeah,
right? There's a lot of other things that are going on that AI is going to help with. I've written a lot about AI being able to very soon being able to help advisors by reducing the administrative tasks that they do every single day, right? And that has ripple effects in the fixed ops department.
yeah,
You can now increase the job satisfaction of that advisor. You can now take admin tasks away from them that they can use that time to actually build customer relationships,
yeah,
right? Now we can start to make more money, right? With things we should have been doing before and
correct,
suggesting to customers, not smashing them over the head, but at
right,
least telling them the things that they need and
right.
having having an advisor have the time to explain those things to a customer.
Are there any tools out there now, AI related? I'm just interested. I don't mean to catch you off guard.
Yeah.
That maybe you're affiliated with that you use? I mean, is there anything out there that just blows your mind away right now that you're like, holy cow, I can't believe I'm in this industry while this is happening?
I mean, there's some that I think that are still being built that are new. Raise a Hood is one of those. They're using AI intelligence and human intelligence to
Yeah.
better diagnose cars and to allow a customer to enter their symptoms and have it give some sort of an idea or percentage idea of what could be wrong with their car before they go to the dealership, right?
Love
Or their aftermarket shop, right? So now it's not gonna AI is not going to fully diagnose your car, right? It's still going
course,
to take
yeah.
a human being to do that. But this gives the customer a little more security walking into the dealership that this AI tool, maybe they don't even know it's an AI tool. This tool told
Yeah.
them they needed an oxygen sensor, and now their technician is telling them you need an oxygen sensor, right? Now it's not, how do I know I need an oxygen sensor? Now
Yeah.
they have something to compare that to.
And that's raise the hood.
Yeah, raise a hood,
Raise the hood. Raise the
raise a
hood.
hood. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha. That's amazing.
Um, yeah, it's a very cool product that they're building there. And the other we talked about answering phones. Scale Voice is
I've heard of that.
yeah, so answering phones mainly after hours, but it can be programmed to answer calls during the day, but at least collecting all the calls that come into service after hours, right?
Yeah.
Making appointments, rescheduling appointments. It is the most realistic one that I've talked to.
Yeah.
And I've told other people this when I tested the system. Um, I do this, and I do this with people in real life, just as a joke. When
Yeah.
anybody says, "Is there anything else I can do for you?" I
Yeah.
always say, "I could use some lunch," right? So At the
Probably get a lot of free lunches that way.
I'd
Yes.
have had people actually Venmo me $20 to go buy myself
I was gonna say, I'd just DoorDash you something right then and
there
there.
for me.
Yeah.
Um, so I went through and like you can go on to their website and you can call the number to make an appointment, right?
Yeah.
So I went through the process of making the appointment. At the end of it, it said, your appointment is scheduled for blah 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 blah. Is there anything else I can do for you? And I said,
Nah,
I could use some lunch.
don't tell me it sent you lunch.
Right? It didn't. I wish I would. Now, let me tell you, that would be a system.
That guy's out of business quick because everybody's gonna be doing it. Like, he's gonna be sending lunches out all day long.
Yeah. But what it did do that actually took me a little off guard was it came back and it chuckled and the voice chuckled and said, "I'm sorry, lunch is not on the menu here today, but
Oh,
is there anything else?"
that's great.
And the fact that it could handle what I'll call an objection, right? That could have been a customer objection that they tossed out,
Yep.
but something that I doubt anybody programmed that system to go, hey, if somebody asks you for lunch, laugh and say we don't have that on the menu, right?
Yeah,
It didn't do
yeah,
that. It came up with that, and that
yeah.
tells me how great the system actually operates and can adapt.
That is so cool. And I'll tell you what, more and more I see these tools come out, it just blows me away. So I appreciate you sharing those 2. I'm gonna look those 2 up because that's highly interesting stuff. I'm very familiar with all the stuff in the front end of a store that's out there right now,
Yeah.
but to know I think AI will actually affect in a more positive way the back end of the house more than the front end.
Yes.
Truthfully, I think it can because, like you said, there's so many data points and admin type things that guys have to go through back there just to get a car fixed. And
Yeah.
it's a shame because those guys aren't programmed in their DNA to be admin guys by
Yeah.
nature.
Yep.
So it's a struggle for them, you know?
Right. And
Uh,
then you look at other things like look at the parts department, right? If you plug AI into a parts department and let
yeah,
it ingest just at a dealership, let it ingest the history of what it is sold for parts,
yeah,
and that AI is going to see things that a human would never see, right?
yeah,
So it's going to pick up that, hey, every June we sell this many more of X part.
yeah,
And it's happened for the last 5 years in a row. So come June, it'll update your stock so that you have that so you don't have that problem or whatever it is. But it'll
yeah.
pick up those kind of patterns that we as humans are never going to see.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, what would you say? So, I've heard a little bit about common misconceptions about about the Dave Foys of the world. You know what I mean? And they are misconceptions because most of you guys are really just nice guys trying to feed your family like the rest of us. But what would you say has been your biggest challenge up to this point, career wise? I mean, business wise.
Yeah, career-wise for me, the biggest challenge was really learning how to be a leader. Because I got that first manager's job for that same reason, because I was a great advisor. So if
Yeah.
you're a great advisor, you're gonna be a great manager.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Totally different, right? As an advisor, I am a single player. I'm a
Yep.
one-person team, and that's all I need to worry about is me
Yeah.
and managing me. And now I become the manager, and now I have to manage everybody.
Yeah.
And that takes skills that need to be learned.
Yeah.
And this it's not I don't want to generalize and say that it's just this industry. It's every industry out there
For
has
sure.
an
For
issue.
sure.
I listened to a podcast the other day and they were talking to a guy who was a VP at Amazon and he was like they don't teach you how to be a manager at this
Right.
company, right? This
Right.
is Amazon that we're
Right.
talking about,
Right.
right? So
Right.
it's everywhere. Uh
Yeah.
that was my biggest challenge and I think it's the biggest challenge for everybody in this industry that moves up. Right?
100%.
Everybody that has some upward mobility
Yeah.
runs into the issue of they don't have the knowledge that it takes to do the job they've been put into.
Yeah, and what a shame, but,
Yeah.
the time that gets taken up there by that person just not only learning the position, but then learning how to manage people and build a culture and
Right.
process and all that, it really is a ramp up that costs dealers a lot of money that they have you can't put a dollar amount on it, but I promise you there's a dollar amount.
No, absolutely there is, and then a lot of times there's an additional dollar amount because before that person gets ramped up to where they need to be,
Yeah.
sometimes the dealer moves on and goes, "This guy
Get
can't get the job done."
starting over. Yeah,
Right? And then they
another
put
one.
another one in there.
Oh, it's crazy. It's always just dumbfounded me, blown my mind in an industry as with as I mean, as vast as the automotive industry, how bad we are at training. I mean, we are really bad. And I mean,
Yes.
maybe it's every business, maybe, but I'm telling you, I think ours is in the lower third of
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like front and back of the house. Just what a shame. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, so that's your biggest challenge, and obviously you've conquered that. Look at you, Fixed Ops Mastermind. You got 20,000 people following you. I would say that you have probably managed to become a pretty effective leader. Um, what's a pivotal moment that you can share real quick? That yeah, pivotal moment that shaped your career or your projection right now.
Yeah, I'll give you 2. The first was the first time that I got to be a manager. Um, had no clue what I was doing and failed miserably. And it was the best thing that could have happened to me
Yeah,
for my leadership journey.
yeah,
Because it made me realize, of course, when you first fail, right? It's everybody else. It's
yeah.
this, it's
Oh yeah.
that, it's that,
Oh
right?
yeah.
At some point, hopefully, you come back and you go, "Hey, you know what? You know who was involved in all of those 12 things?
Yeah.
You."
Yeah. Common denominator.
So it made me realize I didn't, although I was an incredibly high producing service advisor, I didn't have the skill set that I needed to lead a team.
Yeah.
And so I went back to being an advisor, but
Oh
I went back to being an advisor with the eyes of somebody who wanted to be a leader.
yeah.
And so I started to follow around the leaders in the store.
Yeah.
I started to read more, like the books behind me
Right.
of leadership principles of what to do. So
Yeah.
that was a super pivotal moment. The other pivotal moment was deciding to start the Fixed Ops Mastermind.
Yeah.
We all have this imposter syndrome that we carry around. And I sure had it when I was starting the Fixed Ops Mastermind. It was
Yeah.
like, I told you I started it for advisors and techs, and
Yeah.
a whole bunch of leaders were the ones that signed up. And
Yeah.
I can remember saying to my wife, like, the heck am I gonna tell these guys? These guys are running 6 and 10 store groups.
Right.
I don't know
Right.
anything, right?
Yeah. But that goes to a great point though. You're talking about guys that are in charge of 6 to 10, let's say, rooftops,
Yeah,
and that guy needs help and he knows it, and
yeah,
he's not gonna tell his boss that because he doesn't want to give up the paycheck. He's gonna figure it out as he goes. And the attrition that happens there with people and culture and everything, can be damaging to a department and to a store as a whole. But it's amazing that guys, well, not amazing. I think in a way it's admirable, or somehow it's admirable that the guys that are in that type of leadership position, you know, that they still need help learning how to manage people
yeah,
too. They're still like, "Hey, how do you handle this? I don't know." We look at them like, "Oh my God, you must be so smart. You must be all knowing. You're the
right,
Yoda of
yeah,
fixed ops." And the guy's sitting there talking to, and then somebody he just met going, "Hey, I need help." You know what I mean?
yeah,
I think it's eye opening. It really is.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, look, everybody in the world. I'm a New England guy, right? So Tom Brady, and you can say whatever you want.
You can't see it. You can't see it, but I got his picture right up there.
There you go. He is the goat in football, and I don't care what anybody
Nothing to
else
talk
says.
about.
Um,
100%.
but he had what? He had coaches, right?
Yeah,
He had personal trainers. He's the best, right? And he didn't
yeah,
go, "Well, yeah, I know enough. I'm good enough. This
right.
is it. I don't need a coach. I don't need you. I don't need all that."
Yeah,
Right? But somehow we want to think that, like, well, if I say I need help, if I need a coach here, that means I'm not good enough and I shouldn't have this job. And
right,
that's a viewpoint that's dangerous to your growth, number one,
for sure.
and dangerous to the overall health of that store.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the culture, I really hope that, guys like you and, the guys in the industry who have this like-minded thinking, they can make just a sliver of an impact overall because, I mean, it really does need to change.
Yeah,
And, there's just a lot about our industry that I think that, if I think to your point, it is going to look so different in 10 years when the Gen Zs of the world right now
yeah,
are running things
yes,
because They don't have that old school, like, I gotta be this big shot. They don't have that. They don't have that. They are a little more humble than us. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? And now what they don't have that we are blessed with is the ability to look somebody in the eye and make a relationship
Yeah.
because they grew up like this,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So
Yep.
they kind of lost that, "Hey, how you doing? Good to meet you."
Sure.
So it'll be interesting to see for sure. Um, so what advice, I guess, would you give somebody right now who says, "Man, you know what? I'm in fixed ops. I want to be like a fixed ops mastermind. I really want to be a go-to authority in my space." What advice do you give a guy like that or a gal?
Yeah, I mean the first thing that I'm gonna tell you is to learn everything that you possibly can from the people around you.
Yeah,
Go to the dealer principal at your store if that's an accessible person and say, how do I get to fixed ops 20 group meeting?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It
Right.
the owner, I'll guarantee you the owner goes to him, right?
Yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
they want to be brought there, right?
Yeah.
The selfish thing for me is when I bring back the fixed ops mastermind group, join that,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
it's free. It's
Yeah.
free.
That's awesome.
Come and
That's
come
awesome.
and join it. Come and hang out with the people that are there,
Yeah.
and ask questions. Don't just sit there with your camera off, right? Turn your camera on and ask questions about the people that are, or to the people that are there. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody's willing to give answers. Um, I wasn't always, but the last bunch of years I've been a big reader.
Yeah.
Read as much as you can.
Yeah.
Read everything you can. Business books, technology books, anything you can just
Yeah.
spend a little time absorbing knowledge, and don't be intimidated by the books, right? I don't read books from front to back. That's
Right.
not how I read a book. I,
Yeah.
I go through and I'll read the beginning part and then I'll skip through. I'll look at the chapters and go, oh, this one sounds interesting, and I'll read that. If it has something that I have to go back and read to understand, then I'll do that. But
Right.
um, I
Yeah.
I pick out the parts that are interesting to me,
Yeah.
right? Which is the same thing you're gonna do in your life. You're not gonna be able to, no matter who you have for a coach or anything else, you're not gonna be able to take every single thing that person gives you
Yeah.
and implement it in your life. You need to take the pieces that work for you,
Yeah.
and just start to do that with everybody in your life, not just people in the dealership. Do
Yeah.
it with everybody around.
Yeah.
Watch how they're doing it. You can learn from the person that's making you coffee at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, wherever you're getting coffee, at how they interact with people. There's something there to learn.
I have probably 5 or 6 more questions on this interview sheet. And Dave, I'm not going to ask them, and I'll tell you why. What you just said is a mic drop. In my opinion, that's where we need to end this because that is so true. I don't even want to repeat it back because I don't want it to lose its luster from your delivery. Amazing, amazing advice, brother. And I mean, honestly, that I want to expound on it, but I'm not going to. We're going to stop it there because you just really nailed it. That's a mic drop, buddy. That's a mic drop. You did it.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, no,
on it.
that's an expensive mic. Don't drop that one. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about drop that one. But so for everybody out there, obviously, if in this short podcast episode, a little shorter than normal, I think you've been able to realize Dave Foy is a fixed ops mastermind, not just in title. And so, if you're out there and you want to get a hold of Dave, how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, I mean, LinkedIn's the easiest way. And that's Dave Foy on LinkedIn, or David Foy, Dave Foy, I think it is. Either way, you'll find my bald head.
Yeah, you're like a VIP on there. So they just type in your name. Yeah, it comes right up.
There you go. There you go.
That's the
And
best way.
get on there and reach out to me there. I'm on Instagram as Dave Foy Leader.
Yeah,
And I'm on TikTok as Dave Foy Leader or Fixed Ops Mastermind. One of the two.
we're gonna
Or
work on
either of
that.
those.
We're gonna work on that.
That one needs some work. Don't follow me there yet.
Not yet, not yet, not yet. That's awesome. Well, good man. If anybody wants to get a hold of Dave, that's how you do it. You can always reach out to me too. I'll be happy to pass his information. I'm sure he wouldn't mind. Um, so if you like this podcast, guys, get the word out. I mean, these are the kind of guests that I have on here. I'm blessed to be able to have these type of connections with a gentleman that can deliver so much great information in such a compact, condensed format. and a wealth of knowledge and education. So if you like this podcast, like, share, follow, subscribe. Listen, I don't care if you write it on a post-it and you put it in the bathroom somewhere. Just tell people about the podcast. We're trying to get this out here. Amazing information. My name's Sean, GoForReal216 on socials. Follow me on TikTok. I'm not a big LinkedIn guy yet, but I'm being told by people that are important to me that I need to become one. So I'm posting and stuff now. I don't know.
Yeah.
No one sees it. No one sees it.
I saw it. I
I know
saw
you
it.
did. You did. So you're like my one comment. Thank you so much. I felt so popular. But anyway, so like, share, follow, subscribe. Again, thank you to Credit Saint for being here as our sponsor. Dave, it's been amazing talking to you, man. I could learn. I will continue to learn a lot from you. And I really appreciate your time being on here. I know how busy you are.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on and introducing me to your guest. I love what you're doing for the industry, and I look forward to many more interactions.
100%. All right. And I love that background. I'm going to mimic that background.
There you go.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you next time.